Okay, hello everyone and welcome back, and we have, well, another Mini with us. I haven't actually brought another Mini, but I've got access to another Mini for a little bit, so being that this is the R53, the Cooper S, the more sporty version of what I actually brought, even though I brought mine as a track car, and this is the faster, sportier version. Yeah, basically, I'll explain my justifications at the end, but while we got this, I thought I'd give you a bit of a review on it, so kind of a bit of a comparison of the difference between the Cooper and the Cooper S, and just the benefits of it. So let's get into it.
Let's go. Yo, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the high.
Okay, yeah, so kind of getting into it, obviously we're on the outside, so I'll start that. Pretty much is the same as the Mini, which I have, same as you're used to for everything else. Realistically, there are two big differences you're going to notice with the Cooper S. One is the good old scoop, because on these first generations they are supercharged, so it is an actual functioning scoop on these ones. Or the later generations are turboed. They still keep it, but that's just for looks on future ones. Actually is useful here. And obviously the centre exit exhaust on the rear is the other big thing that everyone always notices on these. Does look really good, gets a lot of good comments. Obviously depends what you prefer. I don't mind the one on mine, but I can understand why everyone likes these quite a lot. But they are literally the only visual differences. Other than that, it's a Mini. I mean, everyone likes them. There's a reason they're so popular. They are just good looking little cars. Okay, yeah, so moving on to the inside, really very different to my Mini in the fact that there are rear seats in here, but compared to standard Mini, the thing is there isn't really any extras you get with the Cooper S luxury wise. Everything is just optional extras throughout the entire range, so you can get more extras on a Cooper if you wanted and they paid extra. Like you can get the sunroof, you can get 6-speed CD changer. Everything was always an option, so realistically what model you get isn't really going to make a difference. It's just what extras the person paid for on purchase. So that's kind of what it comes down to. The only real thing that I will notice as a difference here is that this comes with traction control. It's the only thing you can notice as a switch is the difference, but anything else is just an optional extra really. So it's kind of down to you whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing. Obviously I quite like that they just focus on making this a performance version. All the other luxuries anyone can get hold of. Some people might not like that they don't get anything special with their Cooper S, but it's an S, you get a supercharger. That's kind of where I think it is, which I suppose the big point of this whole video is going to be the performance, because that's where it is. So I suppose we get on to the driving. So yeah, onto the driving, the whole reason you're going to basically be buying one of these cars, which the biggest thing for me, obviously outside the supercharger that we got onto later, was actually the suspension. It's a lot harder, it's a lot more sporty, you can really feel it in this car, which daily driving can be a bit irritating because there are a lot of bumps around where we live, so it can be a bit of annoyance. I do miss my R50 driving it for that, but when you get to a roundabout or any nice little corners, it feels so much nicer though. It really does come to life there. It's literally the whole point of what these cars are. It's just that cornering capability and that good fun Friday around B-roading. But the other good benefit you get as well is obviously a 6-speed gearbox in these, which I believe are pretty interchangeable. I've seen a lot of people fit them into their R50s. I don't know if I ever would, because it doesn't make much sense to me outside of motorway driving. I think it would make it a bit too many gears for on track at the moment, until obviously we go for more power, then maybe. But at the moment, it doesn't really make too much sense. It's something you can think about if you want. Obviously, it's very useful in this where you've got more power. Definitely helps it out if you want to go cruising, so you're not just there. As good as the supercharged wine is, I don't think everyone wants to hear it the whole time when they're cruising down the motorway. So obviously it's everyone to their own. But yeah, again, like I said, that's supercharger. That is the reason you are buying this car. Everything else, like I said, optional extra, that's supercharger. The only way you get it is the Cooper S, which it just sounds lovely. Gotta love that little whine. It's very addictive of a sound. Obviously you also get the traction control, very useful when you've got a supercharger giving you good power all the way through the rev range. Kind of stops you messing around too much, I guess, on daily roads, which we all like to do a little bit of. But that's just the way it is. It's a good fun car though, this, I will say. Obviously, I'm happy with mine, but if you do want one, you probably do want this supercharger, because that's where the fun is. Just being able to pull away from everything like you want. Can't really do that in my car. I have not got anywhere near that power or torque. Realistically, the last thing left is obviously just the cost, which on the second-hand market these days isn't actually that much of a difference between the Cooper S and the standard Coopers at the moment. I'm very much surprised by that. You can find them very much hovering around the same sort of place. The bigger issue you're going to have is in your daily running costs. Obviously, you're going to be going through petrol faster, more tax, more insurance, so just be thoughtful of that, and the fact if you do see the Cooper S's, they are about the same price, but just remember you will be paying more for it in the long term, because that's just the way things are, sadly. But like I said, you can get them a good deal, and let's be honest, these minis are at that point now where they are starting to reach that classic point, because no one can buy a classic mini anymore. These are start becoming the affordable classic for a mini, so I don't see it being very long before the prices start going up for all of these ones. And obviously, as we all know, the Cooper S is going to be the one everyone wants, so that's going to be the one that's going to go up the fastest and the soonest, I feel. So if you are after one, get on it soon. Yeah, and then the comment that Matt's brought up, as everyone will say, the handling on these, everyone compares it to a go-kart. It kind of isn't. They're not that they're bad, they handle amazingly. You've got very square shape, really good central view of everything, and just grips and corners so nicely, especially if the suspension on these ones are great. But like a go-kart, like a rear engine, rear wheel drive, lightweight toy, I wouldn't say that's the thing I'd compare it to if it was me. No, this is a great handling car, but go-kart, I never quite understood that comment. It's just a really fun shape car.
I will never be the same, 'cause that's what it takes.
And there is, yes, the supercharger, the whole reason you buy the R53, let's be honest, because realistically that is the big difference. There are a couple of little bits, like I've said, like the suspension and that, but if you're buying this, you're buying it for the supercharger, because everything else big is an optional extra. So it kind of just comes down to, do you want that? Is it worth the extra cost of the power compared to the extra tax and insurance you're going to have to pay? Obviously that's going to depend on where you live, your insurance prices and things like that for you, how big of a benefit to cost it is. Obviously for me, I didn't want it, less so because of those running costs, more so because I want to actually get better as a driver myself and not just be told, oh, your car's more powerful, that's why you're faster. I want to actually get faster myself. So that's kind of the reason. The one thing I wish I did have on this is obviously the suspension, like I was saying about. It's a lot harder, but I was going to get coilovers at some point anyway. That is coming up soon, so wasn't really that worth it. So do I regret getting R50 over R53? No, not really, but I still think, in honesty, it's probably the better car for most people who are into performance-like things. So it's all down to you at the end of the day, what you prefer, but I've said what I want. I prefer my R53. So that's where I'll leave it. I'll see you in the next one. Just want to go and listen to the supercharger one more time quickly.